On the men's panel, which is sponsored by Vantage Advisory, we've got Sean Madliwa. Sean Madliwa is the Director and Chief Transformation Officer at Leading and Change, a 100% Black-owned enterprise that promotes transformation by empowering and developing individuals and organizations to reach their full potential. For over 10 years, Sean has been a thought leader in transformational intelligence. I guess I'll get by transformational intelligence, right? A framework that enables people and organizations to navigate change and achieve optimal performance. Part of his career was serving as Chief of Staff and Brand Marketing and Communication Leader at Deloitte Africa Operate. Guys, Chief of Staff at Deloitte Africa. I can imagine what kind of knowledge, experience, people that he was exposed to, right? Where he supported the Deloitte leadership in strategy development, facilitation, and led the deployment and the adoption of various digital innovations, which is what we are going to talk about. We've got then Billy Bokako. Billy is the head of incubation at the CEDA, Small Enterprise Development Agency, where he manages support of a total of 122 incubators across the country. Great idea. Billy is a person to talk to, right? An alumnus of the, hint, hint, nudge, nudge, Nelson Mandela University, Egqeberha, and he holds an MTech degree in industrial engineering, specializing in technology management. He has over 19 years of experience gained from the power cables industry, the automotive industry, the enterprise development sector. Prior to joining CEDA, he has been in the Innovation Hub as the head of Climate Innovation, South Africa. Guys, there's a reason why I chose these speakers, right? There is a reason. And the reason is, and I spoke to my speakers when we're having our debrief, I said to them, there's a world where I feel us as young people, we have not tapped into. There's a world, guys, social media is not the world. There's a world that exists where the gold, the diamonds, and the whatever it is you can mine is found in that world. Social media is 10% of that world. There's a world outside social media, right? And up until we immerse ourselves in that world, then we'll be able to amplify our influence as women and men, black and white, in the spaces that we are in. We must not be fixated with the things that happen on social media. They are nice, they are good, but I believe social media should be an enabler, should not be the thing, right? The thing is sitting outside social media, and the things requires me and you to work hard at it and understand it, right? I wanted to challenge you to spaces that maybe you never thought you could hear about them, see them, or engage on them. And this panel is coming from the spaces where that world exists. And in that world, you can find fulfillment and you can find success. Giants, you have to elevate yourself. Thank you so much for honoring my invite to everyone.
It's an honor to be here now.
Guys, I'm not sure. Can we be authentic? Can I tell you, I have paid none of these people. None. They volunteered their time and they are here with me today. Thank you. Thank you. Our topic, our theme for the men's panel is New Frontiers in Entrepreneurial Innovation. So we're hearing a lot, so technology, artificial intelligence, digitalization, automation are big buzzwords that we are hearing today, right? And even though it looks far-fetched, but it's here. And it's here to disrupt. And we want to be part of the disruptors of that technology. You were curated here, the panel was curated on that ground that you work in technology spaces, you were exposed into a technology, right? And I want to know from you first, Lincoln, what do you think of the landscape of technology in Africa? And how can we tap into that space as black, white, male, female to become disruptors?
Firstly, I mean, again, this is a first for me. I'm always the lone one in many women conferences to have a panel. Yeah, there's progress, maybe small, but I want to thank my brothers for being here. On the continent, there are 3 types of digital innovations or disruptions happening at the same time. The one are large organizations who are deciding that Africa is the next frontier. And they are coming here to disrupt what we have. You all know Take a Lot, right?
Yeah.
It disrupted. But who's coming?
Amazon.
It's Amazon.
Amazon.
So Amazon is coming. So either Take a Lot has to respond or fold. And that's good for the customer, right? Because there's that disruption that's happening there. The second one are organizations that are here, which are large organizations who are built on the past, but realize that unless they change, they will die. Whether it's banks, consulting companies, all of them are going through digitization, right? Then you've got entrepreneurs who all across the continent are seeing problems that technology can solve and are trying to do that. Sometimes there's collaboration between the entrepreneur, fintech, or insurtech with a large entity. Sometimes there's none. The only 3 things I'll say where I'm hoping people will get in. The first one is you have to understand the pain points. What's the pain point? What problem are you trying to solve? If you just have a me technology,
It will remain me.
it's going to be me. So it's what problem are you trying to solve? And then use technology to solve that problem. So somebody might say, I can't get medication to the most rural areas. Through technology, you can find a way of closing that gap. The second thing is to say, if you're a large organization, understand that digital transformation has got less to do with technology. It's got more to do with people and culture. If your people and culture are not changing, your technology means nothing. We hear so many big tech things that have failed, billions of rands. It is because the people keep on doing what they were doing. The processes are still the same, but we're trying to overlay technology over that. The third thing is about data. That data is growing exponentially as we speak. Just in the minutes we're here, there's more data that's created than data has been created since we were born, right? The question is, how do you harness that data? A lot of people go for big data. Firstly, what's the need for this data? Do you know? How are you collecting the data? How are you storing the data? How are you sorting the data? How are you analyzing the data? Then how are you using the data? People just want big data. What they do then is to send me a happy anniversary on the date of my divorce. Because you think you got big data, but you don't know me. You haven't spent time to understand me so that you can curate the right messages for me. So it's an exciting time to be on the continent with what's happening in the tech space.
It is, I believe it is an exciting time. I'm going to give it to you, Sean, because you worked a lot with technology management, innovation, digital tools, especially at the time that you had spent at Deloitte. So what does that look like for entrepreneurs? Whether you've got a side hustle or you are a norma, right? That's running the Ziana technology. what does data and how important is that data? And what can that data, or how can that data impact or have an influence on the outcome of servicing my customers?
Good afternoon, everyone. Everybody's looking beautiful. Nani machita, nani machita. First and foremost, Noma, thank you for these platforms, these opportunities for us to be able to share this knowledge. In the landscape of an entrepreneur, I think what needs to become important for an entrepreneur to understand when it comes to innovation, right, is that innovation is not always digital or technological. The word innovation comes from a Latin word innovare. It means to renew, to restore, to rebuild. So first and foremost, let's just start there. There's no synonym between innovation and technology. Innovation does not have to be about technology. All right, so let's just have that clear, is that you can innovate yourself and your people for the better of your business. It doesn't have to include any digital technology. That's the first. Secondly, to Lincoln's point, the biggest fall and challenge with technology now, or rather with innovation and digital technology, is not the tool itself, it's people and culture. That's the space I play in, and that's why I can speak comfortably with it. I'm a change manager by profession. I step in when they are busy deploying a tool to help the people along the journey, because it's the people that must adopt and implement the technology, right? That's the space I play in. And the biggest challenge I see is that gap. So the CIO, the C-suites, they're sitting upstairs, they see the problem, they design a solution, Deloitte comes in or any consulting firm will come in, they give a great solution, but no one is consulting the people on the ground. No one really understands the problem happening on the ground. Often, I've walked into organizations and I've walked the shop floor. I always say to them, first meeting in the boardroom, second meeting, I want to go to the factory. I want to go to the workshop. And there I get the real problems, and often the real solutions as well. And it might not be technology, it might not be digitizing, it might not be automating. It just might be changing the way you run your shifts. So one of the key things I want to share with entrepreneurs is that don't always limit yourself to thinking of innovation as a technological need. It could be a people need. It could mean training. It could mean developing your people. It could mean just simplifying things for them. Maybe you don't have a process in place, so manage your processes. It could mean having policies in place so you can hold people accountable. So that's important to understand. You ask about data. Data is, right now, gold. Data is gold, but it is only gold if you have mined it, right? We are sitting in Johannesburg, there's so much gold underneath us, but it's nothing until we have mined it. You need to mine your data. So if you're running a small business or a medium to large business, having the data is great, but knowing how to mine it and what to use out of that data is critically important. Now, there's no one answer that I can give to you. It depends what you are doing and what business you are in. So if you're in the business of sales, you need to understand who gets paid on the 20th, who gets paid on the 25th, who gets paid on the 15th, because those are your buying cycles. And then you promote during those buying periods. Don't promote on the first. My debit orders have just come off. I'm not interested in your promotion. I won't even look at your post. So having data of payday, for example, tells you when to promote because I've got buying power.
Yeah.
That's just a small example. So data, it's all about knowing how to mine it and how to use it effectively to promote your business.
Yeah, can we clap for that? And I think because we live in a world where we are overwhelmed by data, right? That we cannot even interpret the data. And I always say to my team, the winning formula in today's world is how you mine, interpret, and provide a solution based on data. If you do not have that and you do not master that, you would lose customers, right? I think that's very important. Billy, as the head of incubation at CEDA, what support mechanism and resources are available for aspiring entrepreneurs to foster innovation and navigate the early stages of business development?
So I just want to quickly go back. Sean touched on a very interesting distinction between innovation and technology. And I just want to maybe give a bit of context why we have found these words to be synonymous, right? I think the role of government also is to respond Not so long ago, everyone was talking 4IR, right?
Yeah.
The future of business. And if you look at maybe the landscape of digital innovation at this point, it is embedded on the 4IR verticals. We talk about AI, machine learning, all of these, 4IR verticals. So what I'm going to say is not popular opinion. I feel like the instruments that we have, towards fostering incubation, innovation, are quite archaic, given the context that I'm giving you, right? Tools and instruments that we deploy towards helping entrepreneurs work for when entrepreneurship was what it was 20 years ago, right? And I'm going to take you to the space that I work in, right? I look after probably 20 plus different sectors, and digital innovation, or digital hubs as we call them, are one of them. But if you look at the tools that I have, somebody who's making bread and somebody who is, using machine learning to diagnose water, those people need different mechanisms.
Yeah.
And right, there's different tools that you need to deploy. But the current tools that we have do not speak to that,
Generate.
right? So I want to say, before I start saying what tools, mechanisms we have, right? They do not necessarily speak to what the landscape is at the moment. And also working in a space with government, I want to touch back on what Unozi said around value over volume.
Yeah.
With government, it's the opposite. It's volume over value, right? The minister comes to me and says, I'm going to give you this much, and this is what I want out of it, right? So if we look at, comparisons between how we approach it here in South Africa and across, other, developing countries, it's slightly different. You will take 5 good incubators instead of 120 with the same budget, create industrialists out of that and make sure that you deploy, instruments and resources that will impact, the change. So there's a lot that still needs to change in the space that we work in terms of, the offerings that we give.
Thank you. So do you, I know you overlook, you look over 122 incubators roughly, and do you have any success stories of entrepreneurs that have gone through your incubation program and emerge as pioneers in their respective industries through innovative approaches?
Quite a lot. I was actually chatting to Sean earlier on about, the more we move up the ladder, the less technical we become, and the less, contact we have with what's happening on the ground. And for me, it's a big frustration, So we miss out on a lot of good stories because you'll read of it in a report, whereas, earlier on you could interact. But I can talk of maybe 2, entrepreneurs that I'm currently dealing with. And one of them is a lady that is in digital payment solutions. And one of the things that I think government, especially the space that I work in, we do very well is, trade missions, exposing entrepreneurs to export markets. That we do very well, right? So this lady came up with this digital payment solution, partnered up with the Chinese counterpart. We were actually quite impressed because we know the Chinese never really buy anything outside of China. They take and do whatever, and then they sell you back. But they actually partnered with her that last week we signed a 20 million rand deal for her to expand on, on that platform in Mauritius. So that was quite, something that I think, if you look at, there's a lot of digital payment solutions. The fact that hers, could actually, yes, and, all the interventions, we can actually pat ourselves on the back. But one of my proudest stories as yet was during my tenure at the Climate Innovation Center. This gentleman walks in looking for incubation. He's carrying something this big. And he puts it on the table and he gives us a whole spiel. I mean, we heard people saying they're going to turn air into water. You know, we've heard all of these things, and you sit there, sometimes you're quite excited to hear what they have to say, but also there's, a little bit of you just, what are you selling me this time, right? But fast forward, we helped him to put the prototype together. He had an MVP. As of last year, their balance sheet can deploy services of up to R1 billion. And they've had, multiple opportunities with your telecoms, multi-choice. They are a true epitome of what ESD can, achieve if all the players come on board. And what I'm trying to say with this is that we can't take these wins as our own wins. Anyone who works in ESD will tell you what a lonely place it is. It's full of strife, but when we get these stories and understand that, just like the NSI, ESD, working together, we can achieve these things. Thanks.
It's very important for us not to take lightly that other people understand what ESD. So what is the ESD and what is the contribution of the CEDA in ESD funding? Yeah.
So ESD is a phenomenon that started in the United States of America a couple of years ago, way before all our time, actually. It is a redress program where there's been an injustice. You try and bring something, to try and bring everyone on, on par, right? Just like the BEE in South Africa. So ESD is something like that. You've got, previously where, certain population groups were marginalized and couldn't be active in the economy, right? So you get now different players. So there's about 5 players in ESD. You've got government, the state, whose main role is to create a conducive environment, really, in anything that we do, right? You've got corporates. Corporates are the ones that we target because they are the ones with the markets, right? They are the ones with all these value chains that need to open up, and supply chains actually that they need to open up for these previously disadvantaged entrepreneurs. You've got the ESD practitioner, which is people like myself, the CEDAs, and a lot of other people who work in the space. You've got investors and all of that, and all of those people, once they come together and they do what they need to do, we see results just like the story that I told you about just now. Yeah.
Lovely, thank you. Over to you, Sean. So as a thought leader in transformational intelligence, how can entrepreneurs cultivate a mindset of innovation and adaptability to thrive in today's rapidly changing business environment?
It's going to sound like a buzzword or a cliche, but growth mindset is what an entrepreneur needs. And what do I mean by a growth mindset? It's the ability to want to learn about your business, about your clients, about your industry, right? It starts with the ability of wanting to learn. A growth mindset is someone who's always seeking opportunities to learn more about their business, about their clients. And those obstacles and those challenges present you with those learning opportunities. So developing a growth mindset, Noma, is definitely something that I think entrepreneurs need to have. Too often we see people with a beautiful idea, right? A beautiful idea, but because they're not willing to learn anything beyond the idea, they struggle and sit with gold and they can't sell it. I think it was Zandi who said, it was Hetty. Hetty said her client had a challenge, medical practice, but what they didn't know is that they needed to sell. And many entrepreneurs forget that, and that's my second point, right? You have to be a salesperson to be an entrepreneur. Whatever you're doing, you are selling.
Yeah.
Whether it's a service or product, you are selling. You need to know and learn how to sell. Myself too, I love to coach. I want to sit there and coach people and say the nice words, but I need to sell to get clients in the door. So many entrepreneurs struggle because they don't want to sell. They just want to do the nails. But you got to get clients in to do the nails, right? So the second point, kind of mindset myself, is of a salesman. Every opportunity is a chance to sell, right? And one of the best salespeople we've seen, who's a hustler, is DJ Smooth. He got fired for selling his own brand on radio, right? But he's a hustler through and through. He's forever selling.
Yeah.
He's always looking for opportunities to sell. And that's the second type of mindset you need to have as an entrepreneur, is to sell. The third one is awareness. You need to be aware of your environment. It's important to have seed, right? Your seed is your idea, your business. But your environment is critical because you have good seed, but if you plant good seed in sand, because it looks like it's close to the water of the ocean, you will not prosper. I'll say it again. Your environment can shape or break your idea, right? You need to be aware of market trends, what's going on in the industry, where are we heading, what are the latest trends, what are the emerging technologies in your space, what is the next person doing, benchmark yourself against the best in the industry, and plan your trajectory towards attaining that. Your environment is critical to your business. You can have a great idea, but if you plant that seed in the wrong soil, it will not prosper. And then you look around and blame everything else but the environment you've chosen for your business. And Upili will tell you from an incubation perspective, many ideas die a slow death because they were planted in the wrong environment.
Yeah.
The environment is your market. And sometimes it means leaving your hometown. In fact, most times it means leaving your hometown. Most times. That's why many of us are in Joburg today, because we're looking for an environment for this seed to grow. So three things, Norma, for me. Growth mindset, always seek to learn, right? The environment is critical, and you always innovate, right?
Love that, love that. So can you share some experiences of how transformational leadership can drive entrepreneurial innovation and enable businesses to stay ahead of the curve in a competitive market? Guys, we live in a competitive market. Next door, there's a nail technician. If you walk into a mall, how many nail bars, salons do you get in one center? It's competitive, right? My next door neighbor is selling exactly what I'm selling. But how do you then, what are the examples of transformational leadership that can drive an entrepreneur in terms of how they think, the growth mindset, to thrive in that competitive environment?
There are plenty, Norma, and because we're all from different industries and sectors, I'll try and use things that are generic to all of us. So the type of leader you need to be, when you talk about a transformational leader, it's a leader who adapts to the situations. And when you adapt in a way that enables you and your environment to win, right? So adaptability is one, but you want to win. So a transformational leader is a leader who is able to adapt to an environment in order for him and his business or her business to win. Now, what holds many of us back, especially as entrepreneurs, is the fear of what could go wrong, right? And that's a crippling fear. So one of the best examples I can give to you of someone who's got that fear, who has done things that they have gone wrong, but is still thriving, is Richard Branson. Now, yes, I know he comes from privilege, okay? So he had the financial backing. But Richard Branson was never afraid to take a chance. He bought what was Health and Racket, a dying gym in South Africa, and started Virgin Active, right? He started Virgin Airlines. He started Virgin Mobile. He started Virgin Money. Some of them have failed. Virgin Mobile failed dismally. This guy, he only has one. He's got a high school diploma. He's not technological. He never flew a plane, but he owns an airline. He owned a bank. He owned a mobile. It's about trying. Try, fail, learn, get up, try again. That's transformation leadership. The ability to adapt to the situation, to learn, to fail, to try again, to learn, to fail, to try again. And we always use this analogy, especially in our coaching practice, and it sounds silly, but when a baby is learning to walk, they fall 1,000 times. Yeah. They don't give up and say, this walking business, it's difficult, right? They don't do that. They keep trying again and again and again. And what happens is that as we become adults, we have what I call change fatigue, right? We get tired of changing our strategy because you're comfortable with this strategy. You're comfortable with this approach. You're comfortable with this way of being. Do not be comfortable. You are forever changing. That's why every year it's a birthday, you add a number. You are forever changing whether you choose to acknowledge it or not. Yeah. Your body will show you signs of that change. So to be an effective transformational leader in your business, you've got to embrace the fact that you must change. All the time. Nothing can remain the same. Nothing can remain the same. It is good for a season, but next season you got to change and prepare for the next. And that, Norm, I think is critical. And many entrepreneurs focus so much on the seed and not the growth and everything else that comes with the package of the seed.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Lincoln, we're coming to you. As the CEO of Lesaka Technology, what emerging trends or technologies do you see shaping the landscape of entrepreneurial innovation, particularly in Africa.
You go again with this title thing. I always get uncomfortable. But I go back to problems. As long as you see problems, you can have technology to solve the problems. So let's look at our continent and some of its problems. Infrastructure is a problem on the continent throughout. And I've been blessed to travel the length and breadth of most countries on the continent. Not land in the capital and then fly back, but like go in and you realize this country's been free for 30 years, but there's no roads. None. So finding a way between the business or the entrepreneur and its customers creates room for technologies to close that gap. So that infrastructure, technology solve infrastructure is very important. The second one is closing the digital divide. So there are many people who can't get to things or can't get content. You now finding entrepreneurs who are making that gap to be closer. So some of you might know Nollywood. Again, when Nollywood started, there was no digital thing, as you were saying. It was just making films quick. Those films now that are made are flooding Netflix. But how are they getting to the people? That's where the innovators are finding a way to get those there. Digital payments, which is the world I'm in, there is huge companies that are indigenous to Kenya, Tanzania, Nigeria, Zimbabwe, who are making strides in digital payments. How do we remove the friction from payments? Very few people wake up to do a payment. I'm going to do a payment. You do a payment, you expect it to be done without problems. So companies are doing that. Cybercrime is a growing threat to all of us. These things we have in our bags and our pockets are weapons of mass destruction. Because as we're sitting here, there are Tsotsis who are trying to find a way to access our data, access our money, all of that. There are organizations that are busy with that. And I'm going to mention maybe one. Maybe it's because it's one of the people, you use the word mentorship. I just say, these are people I journey with. There's a lady called Mamela Lutuli. She runs a company called Take Note IT. They specialize in cyber protection, cyber security. But what makes it more interesting is that she's chosen that field to develop young people. So she takes unemployed people and trains them in the thing that looks like the most complex, which is cyber. Because these things, when people are taught, they're not difficult. But when we give them fancy names, they're very difficult. I mean, I know some of you, when you go to a restaurant, you'll ask, they'll give you the menu. You ask the waiter, who's not tasted the food, what would you suggest? And with gatso, they say, do the one with couscous, whatever. I don't even know what couscous, but I always hear my wife ordering couscous. But it's that thing. Or you ask which wine. The person has never tasted the wine, but they're trained to speak in such a manner. So again, that area of cyber is medical technology. How do we heal people that can't come to you? How do you use technology to reach people that you can't reach? Simple things like identifying medicines that are out of date.
Yes.
I mean, you wouldn't realize how big this problem is on the continent. That there are pills that have expired. They are being sent to countries. Now, through technology, you can see that these are like that. Then I'll come to things like manufacturing. As you were saying, Billy, again, we talk about the stuff that's just digital, whatever. There's other things that look like old industries. In manufacturing, data and technology can change the way your supply chain works. You get to a factory. How do you make sure all your bolts and nuts are all shaped in such a way that they are put in the right thing? Just imagine you go into a plane. You assume all the people working on this plane have put the nuts and the bolts in the right place. In the old way, somebody wrote it down. Today, all of that is digitized and whatever. But I want to end with just the area of financial inclusion that I'm passionate about. I deal with spaza shops. And people are like, why would you leave a bank and go and deal with spaza shops? Because the high-value people will buy 36 eggs at Woolies. In the village and the township, somebody will buy 1 egg. That's what they can afford. The spaza shop is designed to sell 1 egg.
Yeah.
Now, I have to find a mechanism to make that business to work.
Yeah.
Because when that business works, that person in that community can get something. Am I making
egg,
sense?
yes.
Through technology.
Yeah.
How do I lend to a sponsor shop money? If they're going to a bank, they ask the 3 years financial statements.
Yeah.
But I can put a device there that tells me all the transactions that are going on. They don't need 3 years financial statements. I can know what's going on. That's technology and that's data. Or you take another example, social grant beneficiaries. People look at social grant people as one of amorphous mass. But these are human beings. They have needs. They have ambitions, right? We decided to do a business with social grant recipients to offer them financial products using technology. So there are many uses of technology to solve societal problems. And I think when business, the NGO sector and government can work together, they can develop smart partnerships to solve the intractable problems, right? Let's take water. We have a water problem.
Yeah.
It can never be solved by government alone. You have to have capital investment, but you have to have technology to maintain, to understand that one is about to creak. No, that pipe is a problem. The data can tell you there's a screw that's loose. Now, we only see the problem when the water goes shh.
Yes.
But through technology, all of your system would be digitized. So you can have somebody sit there and they see something go wrong. So all of these things, whether it's road infrastructure, it can tell you this road,
It's got potholes.
it's got potholes.
Yeah.
So all I'm saying is that technology, we must take it away from the buzzwords and see it for the things that it solves for society to progress.
Yeah.
And that's why I love about the Chinese. The Chinese see a problem and through technology solve the problem. So they might say, we've got distances where this country is too large. We'll use the best rail technologies to build an amazing rail network. What that does now, it puts society here. So a guy can move from a village to the city center in 7 hours that it would have taken them 36 hours before. So technology is not for technology's sake. It's not for the geeks, right? It's let's solve a problem.
Societal problem.
A societal problem or a business problem or whatever problem that's there.
Can we give that a clap, guys? Can we? I'm not sure if you are learning, but I am learning. And I think the space today, when we talk about beyond boundaries, is tapping into the untapped territories, tapping into the untapped industries. And if you are not on this bandwagon of technology, you will be out. As a small business, as a big business, as a person yourself. I mean, even managing kids now, we need to manage them through technology because they spend most of their time in technology. So if you are not on this, the bus will leave you, and then your kids are going to ask, Mommy, what happened to you when they were busy with technology? I don't know what your answer is going to be. But I think for small businesses and entrepreneurs, it is important to look at technology differently. And guys, I can tell you, we recently went into a summit in Dubai where it was HR Tech. Of course, that's a space I'm in. And how I viewed how South Africa and Africa is and where the world is compared to where the world is, there's a massive, massive gap. Guys, I wanted to just cry and, I don't know, perform. Because I'm like, we are so behind when it comes to technology. And it is time that we embrace it for what it is. And you can take your space and look at what technological tools and digital tools I can use to impact my society, my customers, or my people. And I am challenging you. I am challenging you. Look into technology. Look into innovation. Look into digitizing. There's a world of opportunities. And Abo Lincoln are not going to do it, right? Abo Cyril and the team and everyone in government, they are not going to do it. Abo Mbalula are not going to do it. The only people that will do it are the people in this room. The young people that still have the mind to go out and chase and look for this data and look for these problems and come up with these solutions, partner with global companies in order to solve societal problems. That is my challenge to you on this technology issue. Moving along, Billy, how does, now, guys, Billy runs a podcast called Big Biz with Billy Bokako. So how does your experience as a podcaster on Big Biz with Billy Bokako inform your perspective on the evolving landscape of entrepreneurial innovation?
In the heart of Africa's vibrant business landscape, there's a force driving change, innovation, and growth. Introducing Ziana Group, a beacon of bespoke professional services, pioneering the future of business solutions and technology across the continent. At Ziana Group, we are more than just consultants. We're partners in progress. Our ethos, people-centered, solutions-driven, and technology-inclined. With our cutting-edge AI-powered HR digital technology and a commitment to customer success, we empower organizations to unlock the unlimited potential of their people and optimize operational processes. In a rapidly evolving work landscape where talent is seeking control and new concepts like fractional talent are emerging, Ziana Group stands ready to navigate the challenges and seize the opportunities. Rooted in sub-Saharan Africa with a strong presence across multiple countries including Kenya, Nigeria, Mozambique, and more, Ziana Group is dedicated to driving superior business performance across the region. Join us in shaping the future of African business. Ziana Group, empowering the future of African business.
In closing.
Yeah. So I think I need to start off by saying I never in a million years thought I would be doing podcasting or anything that has to do with that. But, you know, I think we've touched on it, and I think listening to Ubud Lincoln earlier on, talking about leadership, sometimes we have to do things that are uncomfortable, you know. I'm a big advocate of access. I think we as leaders have a tendency of speaking to ourselves, you know. When I was listening to the ladies speaking, I wanted to just smash down the walls and just bring in more people because I felt the message was that powerful. And I get invited to these gigs, you know, I get invited to spaces like this and I meet incredible people. And my thing, the reason why I started the podcast first is to bring those people. I want more people to hear some of the conversations that we have. We pat each other on the back the whole time.
boardrooms,
And we talk to
yes.
each other, but the people that need to hear the message are not there. What I did not bargain for is the amount of learning, you know, for myself. Like sometimes I just look at this person like, I'm struggling, I don't know what. You know, so I think it really is a good tool, and it goes back to the issue of data. You can imagine with 122 centers that are in different sectors of the economy, the amount of knowledge that gets created on the daily, right? And where does that knowledge end? We need to find a place where we capture the knowledge, we capture the data, and it gets filtered back to the people where it's needed. So it really is a platform. If I could get someone here who can do it better than I do, I would gladly hand it over because I suck at it. But I know there's value in that platform because, you know, we need to get the information out there to the people. We need to give people access to some of these conversations and these platforms. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you for that. In closing, Sean, as the Chief Transformation Officer at Leading and Change, what initiatives or programs do you implement to help businesses harness the power of innovation and drive sustainable growth and success?
So there's a number of things we do, Noma, within our organization. But for me, I think there's sort of three critical areas for an entrepreneur to master, if I can put it that way, in order to be able to take the next leap and level to where they want to be. The first one is personal mastery. You need to know yourself. There was a beautiful term you used early on. You said, you must know your threshold for pain, right? You need to know yourself. So personal mastery is important. There's a lot of free courses out there to enable you to know yourself. To know yourself. Not the picture you put up there, like LinkedIn said. To know yourself, to know your limitations. And the reason I say this is because too often entrepreneurs try to do it all on their own. Right? That's a trap. That's a devilish trap, by the way. Divide and conquer. That's a devilish trap that confuses you thinking you need to do it on your own. You don't know how to do tax returns. You don't know how to do marketing effectively. You don't know, if you don't know, outsource. Outsource that, and technology is an enabler that can help you with that. I've got a virtual assistant. She doesn't live, she's a tool. But she runs my calendar for me. I've got someone who helps me with my books. It's a tool, it's a program.
Are you hearing that, guys?
Right? In my company, I've only got 2 employees that are physical people. But technically, I've got 12 people that do different things for me at different times. Use tools to enable you to focus on the core. Now you're spending all this time trying to do a business plan. You don't know nothing about a business plan. Do not waste your time on things that will not take your business to the next level, right? So personal mastery enables you to be honest with yourself because you will know your own limits and your threshold for pain. The second one, a growth mindset is important. Allow yourself to learn. This platform that Norma has created here is about developing a growth mindset. So kudos to all of you who are here. You already have that growth mindset. Keep it up, all right? Keep developing yourself. Keep growing your own mind. And the last one is, I'm taking a page out of Lincoln's book. You may come to these great events. You may listen to great speakers. But if you do not apply, it was wasted money. Right? I tell my kids all the time, I say, some of these sayings in the world are not complete. Right? My grandfather was big on that. He says, you reap what you sow. It's not complete. You reap what you sow according to the seed you have planted. Mine, though, is knowledge is power. So they say. I say the application of knowledge is power. Because a library is knowledge, right? But what can the library do? Some of you have bought books. Some of you are going to buy books. You have not even opened it. Yeah, I know. I'm one of them too sometimes. I've bought books and I've not opened it yet, right? Thank goodness for Headway. Gives us 15-minute summaries. Apply, ladies and gentlemen. Application is where the magic happens. Application is where the magic happens. Develop yourself, personal mastery. Have a growth mindset. Always seek opportunities to learn and grow. Apply. It's going to suck in the beginning, but you can get better through application. Not through planning again and again and again. Too many of you are perfectionists. You want to get this thing perfect. The environment must be right. The timing must be perfect. The sun must be, Yonkito must be. It will never be, I promise you. Take the chance, take the plunge. Thank you.
Wow, guys, wow. I am taking everything in. I am learning. Wow, you guys are just something else. What advice to you, Lincoln, in closing, what advice would you give to entrepreneurs seeking to disrupt traditional industries and pioneer new frontiers in innovation, particularly in sectors that are being slow in embracing the change.
So I want to go back to
For more from Leaders in Conversation with Noma Zibulo Changa, you can continue listening to the rest of this episode on your audio streaming service app. Our podcast is available on various audio streaming platforms. Details in the description below. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you for watching.